can get. Awesome. Okay, welcome anyone who's joining us on Facebook. Welcome anyone who's joining us in the Zoom webinar. I can see all of us piling into the participant list, or the attendees list, excuse me. Excellent. Okay, I'll wait a good couple of seconds here and then we'll get moving. Awesome. It's good to have all of us here. It's a massive amount of panelists, so this is going to be fun. The round robin of things. Awesome. Okay. All right. While I kind of slowly get us moving in terms of like logistics, for everyone who's joining, welcome. We are talking platforms and resources for citizen science project leaders today. This is SciStarter Live. We do this every week. And today's super special because it's very specific to everyone out there who's either doing a project now or planning to create a project or in process of creating a project, because we have so many resources for you. So let's move on. As usual, I am Emma Giles. I'm a program coordinator for SciStarter. I'm also a SciStarter fellow at Arizona State University. Roland, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. I'm Roland, Quality Assurance Coordinator, and I'll be posting the links in the chat.
Excellent. All righty. Cool. And as a reminder, because this is a webinar, you can use both the chat and the Q&A function. I highly recommend using the Q&A function for this, because as things come up and we talk about different platforms, if you have questions, please write them in there. And if we have time at the end, we'll address them. If we have time in between people, we can address them very quickly. But otherwise, these questions can be addressed in the follow-up email as well. Considering we have so many people here, we might end up having to make sure we fit all of it in. And yes, if you are willing and able, if you want to test out the chat, please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat with your name and location so we know who we're talking to. Okay, and in addition to knowing who we're talking to just from you sharing in the chat, we wanted to just ask a couple quick questions about who you all are. So Roland's going to go ahead and drop that poll. Thank you. We want to know, are you a citizen scientist? Are you a student? Are you a parent, teacher, researcher, or project leader? I'm hoping we have quite a few project leaders in this one, because this is all about you. And if we have teachers and educators, you'll learn about the different platforms as well. It looks like quite a few of you are that as well. That's excellent. Okay, I'll give you a couple more seconds. We usually wait until we have at least 80%. 3, 2. Ooh, are we going to get above 80%? 3, 2, 1. No, okay. Just a perfect. Oh, wait, no, we did get above it. Nice. All right. Awesome. Okay, it looks like the majority of you are project leaders. That's excellent. The next question is actually for you. So in addition, if you are a project leader, are you planning a new project, running an existing project, or neither? Maybe you're something totally different. Awesome. Thanks, Roland. We'll give you a good 20 seconds. Wow, pretty evenly split up. Okay, about 72%. Some of us might not be project leaders, so we can go ahead and cap it there. Okay, that is excellent. Okay, so pretty well split, running existing projects or planning. And if you're neither, I assume maybe you're thinking about doing this or just interested in general. You'll have to let us know if you have any questions about these things. Awesome. Okay. To start off on a baseline for all of us, we all work in citizen science, and this is how we make an impact on the issues we care about and help science. So all of these platforms are here, including SciStarter, to help you make this happen. And we're going to talk through all of these together. So just to start off, because this is a SciStarter Live webinar, I'll give you the quick cheat sheet information on what SciStarter is. SciStarter serves all of the projects included in citizen science. We want to include everything regardless of what platform it's hosted on. We support through promotional and just support from all of our resources separately for our affiliate projects. Excuse me, I can't say the word straight. Excellent. So just to give you a good look of what SciStarter has been working on over the last couple of years. So since its creation, this picture shows a graph of all the different projects that have been added every single year. So these are all new projects. So as you'll see in 2018, we had a lot of projects. And when COVID, the pandemic hit, we actually had a decrease for rational reasons, right? But we also saw a massive increase in events. So events in citizen science has been gaining in popularity, and SciStarter supports those events as well. It makes a big push for it in Citizen Science Month, which I have talked about before. So we do this every every year in April. So we will be using, we'll be talking through, let me go to the next slide, the ways in which these other platforms work with SciStarter. So we work with the other projects, platforms to create affiliate projects. So you can be an affiliate project without being on one of these other platforms. But these affiliate projects are super wonderful because it allows us to look at analytics and demographics of the participants. So it really helps the way that you can look about who your participants are and how to better support them. We also work on enhancing promotion. So we work with putting all your projects into newsletters to make sure they're promoted and push them in our SciStarter live events as well, just like this one. And you are also eligible for inclusion in the partner network, the Discover magazine, the National Science Teaching Association, libraries and museums we work a lot with our library kits, the Girl Scouts of USA, and so much more. We have a lot of partners sitting on a side of our website that you can see on the far right under partner gateways. So if you'd like to learn more about the affiliate project concept, it's connected through the API key. Now, I'm not the expert on this, but I did bring along an expert or two to join us during this call. So if there are questions about this, you can actually drop them in the Q&A and I will forward them on to both Roland and our colleague Daniel, who's in our participant list, who can address those as well. So if at any point there are questions about that, please go ahead and drop that there and we'll go ahead and keep moving. So now it begins. We will start with Zooniverse. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. Let me know when you want me to switch screens. And just as a heads up, I will let you know if we're running low on time.
Wonderful. Next slide. So I'm Laura Truey, VP of Science Engagement at the Adler Planetarium. So joining you from Chicago, and thank you, SciStarter, for organizing this. Really appreciate the chance to connect with this audience. Next slide, please. So Zooniverse has over 90 active projects at any given time, engaging 2.5 million people around the world. It's kindergartners to senior citizens that are helping researchers unlock their data. So it's discovering planets around distant stars, marking cell structures for cancer research, transcribing historic handwritten documents, tagging chimp behavior in camera trap videos, and more and more. Each project is led by a different research team. So just last week, over 100,000 people participated from all over the world in dozens of active projects and contributed over 2 million classifications. So that's the equivalent of a researcher working full-time for 20 years straight in just 1 week of crowdsourced effort. So that's the power of the crowd and why a research team may be interested in using Zooniverse as their platform. So in this brief talk, I'll share a few example projects to really give a sense for how this works, and then talk about how researchers use our platform, and especially share our free DIY project builder platform tools with you. Next slide, please. So Galaxy Zoo was our first project that we launched in 2007. There was a team of astronomers sitting on this beautiful million galaxy data set. It would take more than their professional lifetimes to classify all of those galaxies, let alone pursue the research of interest. And so they launched Galaxy Zoo. In the first year, over 100,000 people participated, contributed millions of galaxies, and this has led to major impacts in our understanding of galaxy evolution. So it was a great proof of concept. Public can meaningfully engage in research, and importantly for researchers, provide that quality of data that could be used in scientific publications. Next slide. So with the success of Galaxy Zoo, other research teams with large data sets started approaching our small team based at the Adler Planetarium and the University of Oxford to see if we could collaborate on making a website and crowdsourcing their data as well. Snapshot Serengeti is a project where in the first weekend that it launched, they got 3 million classifications and processed a backlog of 18 months of data. I also like to use it to showcase how you get reliable data. So here, every image is classified by 25 people. If 24 out of 25 say, hey, there's an elephant and it's walking, you can be confident in that result. And the research teams always upload expert classified data so that they compare the consensus result to like maybe 1,000 images and really get a sense for the robust quality of the data that's coming in. Many projects like Snapshot Serengeti now utilize these more sophisticated algorithms for retirement and integration of machine learning alongside the human effort. And we provide tools for that type of integration. And so the basic model of crowdsourced image classification remains the same, but you have these overlays of just sophisticated tech to help you be as efficient and thoughtful as possible with your participants' time. Next slide, please. So we also have projects like marking tasks, like this HSL collaboration with the Cancer Research Institute. It's looking at differences in cell structures between cancerous and non-cancerous cells. Next slide. And in addition to like tagging projects and marking tasks, there's also a whole slew of digital humanities projects, all these digitized handwritten documents. So it's transcribing. Here it's the William Lloyd Garrison and his network of abolitionists and their letters to one another. And now, because we have this DIY project builder tool that I'll talk about, so whether you have a small data set or a large one, it's all about harnessing the power of the crowd to just efficiently unlock your data. Next slide. So key to creating space for serendipitous discovery is that every project has a talk discussion forum dedicated to that project. So this is where the volunteers engage with the researchers and each other around the science and their interests, including if they see something weird or unusual while they're classifying. When a research team chooses to use Zooniverse as their research tool, they commit to being engaged with their participants in this talk forum. And the image shows the Planet Hunters talk discussion forum. And you can see that project, there's tens of thousands of people who have classified and thousands who have posted into the talk. Next slide. So each project is led by a different research team. They work in collaboration with us and use our infrastructure to launch their project. Our partners span the gamut of institution type, from R1 to community college, museums and libraries, government agencies like the EPA, to research institutes like CERN. Next slide, please. So these last few slides are all about the Project Builder platform. This is a DIY free platform. It is about democratizing access to research, which is a guiding principle for us at Zooniverse. Same as we wanted to break down barriers to like who should and can engage in science, we also wanted to make sure this research tool and infrastructure was available to anyone for free. So in 2015, with the Sloan Foundation and a Google Global Impact Award, we built this new infrastructure. Next slide. So this is a screenshot of one of the sections that you fill out. Here you input text and images for the landing page of your project. This happens to be a project by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology team. And as you input information, you can immediately see what your project looks like to the public. So next slide. So this is the landing page that they built using that interface. Next slide, please. Here's the interface where you're setting the classification task and linking to your uploaded data into the system. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll see the public-facing view. And you iteratively build, test, and refine. And then you go through a review process, and we, as the Zooniverse team, are there to help share best practices and support in terms of how to make your project a success. Next slide, please. So the Project Builder launched in 2015, and it's transformed the Zooniverse. We went from building and launching 2 to 3 projects a year as a small web development team based at the Adler in Oxford, and now launching over 50 projects every year for the past 5 years, because each research team is using this DIY toolkit. Next slide, please. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me at the email address, the contact@zooniverse.org. I'm a co-PI for the Zooniverse, based here at the Adler with our team of web developers and designers. Then we work closely with our colleagues in Oxford with a team there and at the University of Minnesota. And it will be much appreciated if you all would serve as ambassadors to your networks, letting them know that these free tools are available. And if they have a data set that needs some kind of classifying, to consider Zooniverse in their toolkits of possibilities. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. All right, just actually to add on to that, Zooniverse projects can be set up so that SciStarter is able to periodically poll them for new participation. And so this allows us to show off the efforts of participants. So SciStarter account holders can track their contributions over time. And that allows you to see, or the project leader is able to see analytics as well. So, or be able to see that. Awesome. All right. We are moving on. We'll talk about Anecdata. Kate, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Next slide, please. So I'm Kate Bailey. I'm a systems developer at the MDI Biological Laboratory, where I've been working for 10 years now. Next slide, please. And yeah, so Anecdata is a project I'm the primary developer for, which is a platform for collecting data for citizen science projects. Next slide. That anybody can create a project, design a data sheet, and start collecting a pretty wide variety of data to help advance their citizen science project. We're not the only platform that does this kind of thing. For example, Greg Newman at SciStarter is doing a very similar thing. But the cool thing about what we're trying to do is, like, unlike, so for example, like, there's some projects like iNaturalist, which are very good at collecting, for example, biodiversity data. We want to help projects collect a much wider range of data that might not otherwise be supported well by online platforms. And so we're trying to help fill that niche. As of right now, we've got about 280 live projects, about 13,900 users, and just shy of 100,000 observations, which can be a wide variety of things. They can be, for example, just a picture of the night sky, or it can be a report of, for example, 20,000 pieces of debris cleared off of a beach in South Carolina. Next slide, please. And so Anecdata, this all grew out of our own experiences as researchers at the community lab at the Mount Desert Island Biological Laboratory in Bar Harbor, Maine. There's our campus there, and our community lab, we're a pretty small group, and we work to help advance stewardship and environmental monitoring of the region around the lab, including Frenchman Bay. And but yeah, basically our work here is we're trying to advance our own work through this platform, but we also let other groups create projects on Anecdata. It helps advance their work, and the things that we learn working through with them also helps us advance, helps us improve the platform overall. Next slide, please. And so there's a wide variety of projects on Anecdata. For example, the Weather Journal project at South Carolina Aquarium, they've collected, I believe, just shy of 2 million pieces of debris using their project on Anecdata. There's also, for example, the Maine Signs of the Seasons project. They do phenology monitoring of rockweed along the coast of Maine, using rockweed largely as an indicator species to see, well, how is rockweed potentially responding to climate change? And then we've also got projects, for example, like Sten Odenwald at NASA's project, smartphone astrophotography, where he's actually having people take their smartphones, use a little mini telescope or a big telescope, and take pictures of celestial objects and just share what they find. And so that picture there, that was taken, I believe, through binoculars with a smartphone. So you can do some pretty cool stuff. And so, yeah, that's the cool thing about Anecdata, is that it's a versatile platform that supports a lot of different kinds of projects. Next slide, please. And so here's some projects I think that could be pretty cool for people to get involved with. One project is the Roadkill Reports project. That's actually one that I administer. And I designed it mainly as a project to make it easy for people pretty much anywhere to collect some relatively meaningful data. In this case, where are animals being hit by cars? I care a lot about animals. It's kind of close to my heart. And so anybody can just go to anecdata.org or get the anecdata.org app, search under projects for roadkill reports, click join, and immediately start sharing their observations. Just click new observation, fill out the form, and click save, and you've submitted an observation. Another project that I'm working as part of is the COVID-19 home testing project. This is an IRB approved project that I have been running to collect the results of COVID-19 at-home tests and find out from people like information about like, well, where are they? How often do they test? What symptoms are they experiencing? What kind of test did you use? And try to get a better picture of like, well, what are these tests? How effective are they? And how is this potentially changing over time? And finally, I think another really cool project, I don't run it, is smartphone astrophotography. This is one that anybody can join. And my advice is get a little clip-on lens for your smartphone, or if you've got something better like a telescope or a set of binoculars, just try to take pictures of what's in the sky, because you can get some really cool stuff. And this is a neat place where you can share this imagery, and you can communicate with Dr. Odenwald at NASA about your observations on there. So of course, we've got a ton of more projects, and you can find them all at anecdata.org/projects. We are a SciStarter partner, and you can actually go on there and you can click show me only SciStarter projects, and you will find all the projects that we have linked over with SciStarter. Next slide, please. Yes, I was going to say.
Do you want to explain this if you want?
Yeah, so we're integrated with SciStarter. So when people create projects on Anecdata, you can click enable SciStarter integration. And then as soon as you hit save, Anecdata will talk to the SciStarter server and pass all of that project profile information back to SciStarter. It will create you a SciStarter page. And then every time you make edits on Anecdata, it will appear over on SciStarter. Additionally, if your users, if your project participants submit observations, and if they have SciStarter accounts, those observations will be synced with their SciStarter profiles. So we actually will help log that information. And so, yeah, that will keep on syncing. And this, I will say, with the one caveat that if you do end up editing your project's profile on SciStarter.org, we can't keep track of like which is the most recent edit. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty slick.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, it's automatic, super fast. There's no delay. I love the connection with Anecdata. It's awesome. Yeah, if there are any issues of updating things, then you just got to make sure it's done on both sides. But otherwise, all good. Yeah, there's more that actually use the same system too. So we'll keep moving on to Greg. If you'd like to take over for SciStarter.org, let me know when to switch slides.
Yeah, you bet. Let's see. Greg Newman, thanks, Kate. That was awesome. I'm co-founder and director at SciStarter. So next slide's fine, Emma. And we are a free and open public science, citizen science, community science, participatory science platform, whichever you want to prefer to call these initiatives. So next slide. And our aim and mission is to help power community science, citizen science initiatives. That's really been our mission since inception back in 2007. And we really power citizen science projects all over the world. And we see through our project builder and datasheet creator, new projects weekly. So yeah, this is just recent stats, and I'm sure things have changed. So next slide. So once again, our mission is to really support the full spectrum of public science initiatives, whether they be community-based monitoring or community science, citizen science, participatory science efforts worldwide. And our tools are really built to help streamline that work. And we also provide, which I'll get to next, some consulting as well. So next slide. So our core services are our platform, SciStarter.org, our data collection apps. We do build custom apps for individual projects on an as needed basis. And we have our own primary mobile app. And then consulting, as I mentioned, which is really key to successfully launching these projects. And so we do offer that as a service, and would love to work with you if interested. So next slide. So as an overview, we're a free and open platform. We've built our platform on open source tools. We have an open API, much like SciStarter, and its API, which I'll mention at the end. And Anecdata has integrated with, which is awesome as an affiliate. We have a DIY project builder, which was built back in 2007 in its rudimentary forms and has grown and evolved ever since, and a DIY datasheet creator, which has also grown and evolved with constant user feedback to make it better. And we're grateful to all of those who continue to help us make it better. And then we have full GBIF, sorry about this, with the joys of working at home, phone calls. We have full GBIF taxonomy support. And just a second. Okay.
They had great timing. Sorry, Greg.
Yeah, sorry, I can't
No
turn the
worries.
phone off. So anyway, we have integrations with Zooniverse and SciStarter and data visualizations, which I'll talk about. And we're working on an organizational hub. And of course, we're very flexible with our governance and privacy. So go ahead, next slide. So this is an example of a project profile page and shows all of the new observations for each project. Next slide. And this is a map of observations. So next slide. And these are resources you can upload to your project profile, inclusive of trainings, videos, and all the like. So next slide. And our forum, which supports images in the forum to allow people, much like in the Zooniverse talk, to really discuss some of the objects being submitted by volunteers and look at them and discuss, some interesting aspects of those photos. So next slide. And this is data visualization. Sorry. These are real-time data visualizations for dynamically generated charts. So as new observations are made, the air temperature, new observations will appear. So next slide. And our analyses, our analyses also dynamically update for categorical observations. So this is bird nest behavior over time since 2017, all the way through 2019. Next slide. And this is our view of our datasheet creator. It's a very simple creator to just drag and drop things into the datasheet creator. Sorry. And so what you do is you simply drag and drop the questions of interest on your datasheet creator and pull them into the datasheet. So next slide. Next slide. So this is I'm sorry, go back a slide. And this is how you can customize individual questions and options in the datasheet creator. Next slide. And this is a quick little view of how to upload locations in bulk. And next slide. And what that looks like when you get a location and observations on that location details page. So next slide. And then finally, I want to put a shout out to the integration we built with the Zooniverse. This is a quick flow of Zooniverse and SciSci integration, where you can take images submitted to SciSci and easily show them as subject sets on the Zooniverse. So next slide. And this is our open SciSci API. And next slide. Lastly, I just want to share, despite the phone in the background, apologies, school district's closed tomorrow, but snow coming. But I just want to say that every one of these platforms you're hearing about today is built with a lot of hard work from Kate and Laura and Charmel and everyone you're going to hear from. And I just want to express empathy and gratitude to all those doing this fine work of building platforms for your use. So next slide. And just like Anecdata, we're working on SciStarter integrations, both with project sharing and metadata and participant observations. Emma, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. So this is in process, so it'll become a lot easier very shortly, I think is the main idea, right? I'm so glad you mentioned the idea of just everyone working so hard for a type of work where we're working with the crowd and making sure we're like engaging more people to make the science better, and for more than one reason, right? It's really nice to see that in all of our presentations. The amount of crossover and collaboration that happens is astounding. So thank you for taking note of those things. Yeah, and I did see a question about API in the Q&A, so I'll take some time at the end to discuss those things as well. But before we do that, I will go ahead and send it over to FieldScope, which is Jessica. Jessica,
Hi.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you so much again, SciStarter, for organizing this. It's amazing to be a part of this fantastic group and see all of what you're doing. So thank you again for including us. So my name is Jessica Bean. I'm the Director of Outreach and Science for FieldScope. I'm also a scientist and educator at UC Berkeley. My background is in evolutionary biology and paleoclimatology. And I'm actually a recent addition to the FieldScope team. I'm really excited to be a part of FieldScope, given my love of science and also my ongoing work in formal and informal education, and really hoping to figure out ways to support and meld the two together. And I actually came to SciStarter, or sorry, to FieldScope. We're also, as some of the other platforms alluded to, are working on integration with SciStarter and having discussions about that. But I came to FieldScope because I was actually supporting a citizen science project and was seeking new tools to support the work that we were doing in communities and with school districts. And so I'm really excited to share a little bit about FieldScope with you today. So next slide, please. So FieldScope is a map-based data collection analysis platform. And our primary focus is really not only on the collection of that data, but also the analysis of that data. So really supporting our partners, whether it's in informal or formal spaces, to be able to really use that data for a purpose and work with it. So the idea is that FieldScope really empowers communities and citizen scientists and to be able to actually work with their data and make meaning of data and turn data into stories. So what you see here on the slide are some of those examples of maps and graphs that can be made using data that has been either stored or submitted to FieldScope and that is now being used for an analysis to make sense of it. So you can go to the next slide. So if you go to our homepage, what you'll see are some different options for exploring. You can join a project. This will take you to all of our different projects that we have going on right now, which I'll talk a little bit about more in a second. You can learn about how to launch a project, also how our work has been used in educational settings. And again, we partner really closely with the projects that we launch on our platform. Next slide, please. So this just gives you a sense of the breadth of the size, the geographic size of the projects that we work with. We work from international and national projects all the way to very hyper-local projects, because we really want to support community and citizen science projects of all sizes and reach. So for example, on the international side, we have projects like Water Insights, which is a water quality monitoring program, which is actually the one that brought me to FieldScope originally. Again, not as part of the FieldScope team, but just as a scientist and a researcher and an educator seeking support for how do we help teachers and students and communities actually work with the data that we're collecting for Water Insights about water quality. So we also host Frogwatch USA and Indigenous mapping community projects. And then in terms of our statewide and regional, we have things like Riverwatch Colorado. We are coastal, which is actually in Newfoundland, Sharks of California. Again, all of these are working with various types of data. And then we also have some very, very hyper-local projects. So for example, the local AF Foundation, that's a project monitoring fish ponds in one part of Oahu in Hawaii. So that are very important to that community. So again, we work on a lot of different scales with a lot of different projects and different types of community and citizen science data. Next slide, please. So this just shows you one of the main pages for actually our Water Insights project, that water quality monitoring project that I mentioned. And what it shows you is that you can see the data appear on our map, but then it also gives you these options for working with the data. So for example, as you see on the left side there, things like filtering the data. Do we want to be looking at a particular area or county or particular values? And so you can set up those types of filters. Next slide, please. by doing things like drawing areas. So for example, I'm working with a community in Santa Cruz, California, south of San Francisco, and they're very interested in being able to just look and focus in on their data in particular. Next slide, please. So then once you have that filtered data set, you can decide what types of visualizations do I want to make? Do I want to make a map or a histogram or a time series or a scatter plot or a range, box and whisker plot? Do I want to do some numeric summaries of averages and things like that? So it gives you a lot of options for what to work with and the types of visualizations that you want to make. Next slide, please. So for example, this is just a visualization of water type that has been collected in that Santa Cruz region. And showing you everything from lakes to rainwater, stormwater, well water that has been tested as part of that water quality monitoring project. And so you're able to very quickly and easily visualize that, and using these pull down menus, select what you want to be able to analyze and visualize. Next slide, please. So again, if you want to create a map and I want to look at the average pH ranges in this region and color that and create that symbology, we can do all of that on FieldScope, and then you can create these maps for your project, for your community. Next slide. And we also have the ability to change the base map. So if you want to be working with a satellite map or a topographic map or another base layer that you want to use because of the type of project you're working with, we can add that. So this is showing nitrate with a satellite map below it, and that symbology color coding to show you the nitrate levels. Next slide, please. So again, the whole idea is that you can create these visualizations, work with them, you can save them, you can share them, reopen them, edit them. So again, it really creates a workspace for yourself and for your projects to be able to share these visualizations and be able to communicate about the purpose of the work that you're doing. Next slide, please. So again, as I've already mentioned, it's a shared project database is what, part of what FieldScope provides. We also have this new offline mode, which allows you to upload data, even if you're, be able to save data and then upload it later if you're offline or in the field. And it can support all sorts of data, photos, audio, video, numeric data, of course. And of course, as I showed you, it's that visualization and analysis platform. And part of what we also offer is a way of embedding those visualizations in other websites. So you can make it look local to your environment, your website, or your project. You don't have to be always coming to FieldScope to be able to use the visualizations that you're creating. And the other things that we offer are real support for project managers, how you're going to be able to make the data, as public or as private as you need to, depending on the type of data that you're collecting, and tools for groups for organizing groups of people who are working within a FieldScope project. Next slide, please. And I do want to do a quick shout out to also our educational resources. We have a whole collection of lessons called the Invitations to Inquiry. And the goal is to provide sort of an easy access to working with authentic environmental data, especially for middle and high school teachers and beyond. So the idea is that, teachers don't have a lot of time to create lots of new activities, but here we've created some stepping stones to support their entry into exploring the data. And hopefully that will lead to more open-ended citizen science explorations and data inquiry. So please check out our educational resources. And we're very interested in partnering with new projects who would like to create more either community-based or formal education, resources. Next slide, please. And just really quickly, again, we have a whole process for launching a FieldScope project. We really love to meet with you and talk to you about your project, help you fill out project templates to help set up your project pages, test that project, and then we have a basic licensing agreement, and then we go live. But really, the idea is that we want to support you and help you frame your project and the types of visualizations that you want to be making to support your needs and your interests of your community. So one of our most recent projects is actually tracking Lyme disease and ticks across Western Maryland. And so here you see some visualizations on the side there. And we are expanding some new projects, especially in the public health arena, which we're really excited about supporting. So please reach out if you're interested in exploring what this process could look like for you to, again, meet the needs of your project and your community. Next slide, please.
So Jessica, we're just on the edge of time for you. So I'm gonna, just your information.
Yep.
If you need to reach out.
Please reach out. That's my email. We have, And again, FieldScope is housed at BSc of Science Learning. I am based at UC Berkeley, and thank you for your time and attention.
Excellent. And then just to let you know how SciStarter and FieldScope are working together, just like Anecdata and SciStarter. We are working to incorporate FieldScope in the same way to work with the project and participant APIs to essentially combine, or not combine, but to work together with the platforms to help keep track of all that lovely data. Also to note, Daniel in the chat is from SciStarter, and he wanted to answer the question about APIs. So just to let you all know, I'm going to read that out loud. For those of you wondering what an API is, as the non-expert, I'm going to use his words exactly. It stands for Application Programming Interface, but what it really is a way for distinct pieces of software to plug together. So for example, Anecdata, or in the future, FieldScope and SciStarter are able to integrate their software with SciStarter's by plugging into SciStarter's APIs. It's the basics. If there are specific questions about that, keep on asking and we'll keep on answering. All right, ESRI. We will talk through ESRI. Charmel, I will drop the screen share for you, but if you want to introduce yourself first and then.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Charmel Menzel, and I've been with ESRI for about 20 years, and I'm a senior solution engineer. Yes, if you can drop the sharing, I can't share until you stop. There you go. Thank you. Hopefully everybody can see that.
All good.
Great. So yeah, again, like everybody else, thanks to SciStarter for the opportunity to participate on this panel. This has been really fabulous hearing everybody. I am Charmel. I am joining you from North Virginia. Now, one of the SciStarter questions were, and a lot of people have answered this, like, who are the researchers? Well, ESRI, as a global corporation, has 10 million ArcGIS users and 12,000 colleges, nonprofit organizations, local, state, and national government. Granted, not all of them are utilizing it for community science, but it's really difficult to narrow down to see how many people are utilizing it for community science if they're doing a project internal or if they're doing a project and they haven't let us know. But what I do know is that what's being researched utilizing ArcGIS is equitable solutions, biodiversity, sustainable land use, conservation planning and ocean conservation, climate neutral development. And here's just a splattering of great organizations that are utilizing ArcGIS to answer and to address some of these questions. I know many of you are on the call that probably I could add your logos into here too. So sorry if I left you off. I didn't mean to intentionally. Since the ArcGIS umbrella has a lot of applications and capabilities that are available to you, I want to just go through one example workflow, one example project if you are a project manager. Typically, you have your volunteer collecting and capturing the data. It could, for this example, let's just talk about it being a field data collection. And once without programming, you can configure these applications to capture the data in the field. If they're disconnected, the information is stored on their device, and then it's synced automatically when it gets to a location with a Wi-Fi, and it updates our data API. Remember API, that's the term of the session. The data API, or in ArcGIS terminology, the hosted feature web layer. And so it's straight through. I should mention at this time that the web layer, the ArcGIS data API, other APIs can share their data through the ArcGIS data API, and then your data is then readily available for that analysis, for visualization, for sharing in stories and story maps. And so let me go through this with one organization. Now, of all the ArcGIS field apps that are available, ArcGIS Survey 123 is the most prevalent amongst community scientists. In this example, iBeaver tool was developed by the Defenders of Wildlife. And it enables that collection of, you gather it, beaver presence and absence and suitable habitat. Now, once that data has been captured, then the Defenders of Wildlife staff will go through a quality control with an ArcGIS web application, and then make it publicly available through an ArcGIS web application. It's all part of the umbrella, all of these applications. of the ArcGIS umbrella. So here's depicted here a web application, sharing that data to the public. As a volunteer, I love to see my data visually. You can share your scientific results through an ArcGIS web application. In fact, one of the most popular web applications for sharing information is the ArcGIS story maps. And again, this is underneath the umbrella of ArcGIS. It's there and it's available for you. Here, Defenders of Wildlife are thanking their volunteers. It's definitely used to thank volunteers, recruit, motivate volunteers to come back and stay involved. And just to show what the community is accomplishing to your constituents, to the scientific community, sharing your results. There's examples, I couldn't put them all on here, be too noisy, but examples of the community in New Hampshire, they were analyzing eBird data and they brought into ArcGIS, did the spatial analysis to determine where there are gaps in the data collection. So then people, if they're going out for the weekend, they might go to a different area than they've gone to before, which is great. Sharing results, let's see, in San Diego, they shared the Parks for Pollinators, the iNaturalist project, bringing in information from other projects and sharing that information through an ArcGIS story map. It's a great tool. Though I had to say that our users of ArcGIS said, we really need a way to bring our community together. And we want to utilize it within that, underneath that ArcGIS umbrella. We want to bring together a collaborative, open science community. And therefore, ArcGIS Hub was developed. So ArcGIS Hub, think of that as if you're a project manager, you want to work with your community. And it could be the public. You want to work with your partners and you can work with them kind of behind the scenes. You don't have to share all that information publicly. You can work with them and work on the scientific analysis behind the scenes, but you can also have that component publicly. And of course, open science is key. When the data has been quality controlled, sharing that data through open data tools, which are available in ArcGIS Hub, and build that advocacy, that group, if that's part of your project. Doesn't have to be all of these things considered. I'm going to show you what Defenders of Wildlife have done with their open data site. This ArcGIS Hub site, they brought together their story maps into one location. I can browse the data by categories that they've identified, and then pull in links to other maps, like the Castor map I showed you. But it doesn't have to be an ArcGIS application. It could be any application you're linking to. It's a big community, as you can hear from here, linked to other data. I went to the data observations, and it could be data. You can discover documents and apps and maps through this open science portal. I've accessed the data that's been shared by Defenders of Wildlife, giving me access to all of the attributes that they're sharing. And I can select on an attribute if I want to filter this data. Maybe I only are interested in New Mexico. I'm going to draw a very sad looking polygon and select the attributes or the records within that polygon. But I could filter on an attribute like a region or a specific species. Download that data, toggle the filters. You don't have to program anything. This is all there for you. And you just decide how you're going to share the data to many different formats. Maybe you don't need to download the data. Maybe you want to just link to this data through that API or utilize it in a story map. So again, ArcGIS Hub is the way to give you a tool in your tool chest here as a project manager to bring the community together. And there's more and more applications. And I've seen that. I've been involved with community science for some years now. And at first, hubs were not used at that area. So I just,
So
yes.
sorry, we're running low on time. So I just wanted to have you have a closeout statement before we can
Certainly.
move forward. We can come back if we have time.
No worries. Advanced capabilities with machine learning and 3D and location analysis, as well as I can help you gain access to ArcGIS in your organization. Thank you.
And all of these two, Sharmel, if you send them to me after this, I'll include them in the full PowerPoint list so that anyone who wants to look at this information a little bit more closely, they'll have the ability to do so. Excellent. Okay, I will hijack. There we go, hijacked. Okay, Also, there is an IPA, or excuse me, see, clearly I'm not the expert, an API connection that allows us to acknowledge the efforts of participants for SciStarter account holders, and we would work together to make that setup happen. So moving on to our last one, iNaturalist. Carrie, it is your turn. Let me know when you want slides swapped, and I will go ahead and mute myself.
Great, thanks, Emma. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Carrie Seltzer. I am the Stakeholder Engagement Strategist for iNaturalist. I'm based in Washington, D.C., and I'm excited to share more about iNaturalist. Next slide. iNaturalist exists to help people share their biodiversity encounters. So distinct from the other platforms that we've been hearing about today, there's a couple ways in which iNaturalist is a little bit different. One is that we are really focused on biodiversity. So if you're interested in what species live where and when, and getting people involved and excited around those, especially wild ones, iNaturalist might be the right platform for you. But you can also think of iNaturalist as kind of a mega project. You can submit an observation to iNaturalist even without joining any particular project, which I think is distinct from the other platforms we've heard from today, where, you know, when you submit to Anecdata, for example, it's in the context of a particular project. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, other platform presenters. The gist of how it works is you see something in nature, like a butterfly, and you snap a photo of it, and then you can share it with the iNaturalist community, and other folks can help you identify what you saw, even if you don't know what it is. So there's crowdsourcing of species identifications. And then collectively, what is contributed to iNaturalist helps increase our understanding of global biodiversity. Next. I want to acknowledge that the iNaturalist community is the reason that iNaturalist works. Since 2008, more than 2.5 million people have submitted observations to iNaturalist. Several 100,000 of those have helped other people identify what they saw. And so huge thanks. I know that there's some of you in the audience today. Thank you. iNaturalist works because of all of the people who dedicate their time to it. Next. It's the other cool thing about iNaturalist is that it is global. So this is just a snapshot of 1 hour of iNaturalist activity. This was from October 2021. And during that time, the points are connecting where the observation was made to where the person who added the identification was roughly based. And in that hour, there's about 5,000 new observations, more than 12,000 identifications added to other people's observations, more than 200 new people signing up, and about 8 new projects created each hour on iNaturalist. Next. In terms of the science that's coming out of iNaturalist, remember this is all about biodiversity. I guess there's some machine learning stuff too coming out based on iNaturalist, but there's thousands of publications now that are using data from iNaturalist in all sorts of ways. In terms of internally, what we're doing with iNaturalist, we are now using machine learning to model the 70,000 most commonly recorded species on iNaturalist, and that has these visual similarity components and a geospatial component. So we use that to help give people suggestions for what they might be seeing based on the photo that they've taken, and that can be a useful kickstart, especially if you don't know what you're looking at. I also just wanted to highlight that there's hundreds of new undescribed or rediscovered species on iNaturalist. Next, I'm just pulling up one example of this that I found. This is an undescribed species of spider that was posted to iNaturalist. Next, you can see that there is some conversation happening among the community. So you can think of each observation that you post to iNaturalist as an invitation to a conversation about what you saw. And so here's other members of the community saying, wow, this is really exciting and cool. This species hasn't been described yet. Next. If you are interested in starting a project around biodiversity, I think the great benefits of using iNaturalist are that you can leverage the existing iNaturalist community and tools. It's active. We've been growing for almost 15 years now. There's a lot going on, as you can see. So we've tried to make it easy for folks to create a couple different kinds of projects, and I'll elaborate on those in just a moment. And I also wanted to highlight that on a weekly basis, we automatically share the subset of our observations that have species level identification agreement and are appropriately licensed with the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, which is a major aggregator of all kinds of biodiversity info. Next. Here's an example of a project. A lot of projects on iNaturalist are place-based. This is a watershed-based project, and this is just aggregating all the observations from a particular watershed. And this is a very common way that people might want to use iNaturalist to build community and draw attention to a particular place that they're concerned about. Next. So a lot of things are sort of based on those sort of basic place or taxon filters, but something like this project, Never Home Alone, is focused on the wildlife of your homes. This is for the spiders and bugs that find their way in. Maybe they live there permanently. And this is the kind of thing that we can't automatically filter out. So this is what we call a traditional project, where each person has to decide to add their observation to this project in order for it to be included. So all my house spiders are in here, and the occasional mouse too. Next. So if you are thinking about using iNaturalist for a project like this, I encourage you to pick it up and get started. Make sure you have an iNaturalist account. We need to know who you are, and then the key elements of where you saw it, when you saw it, some evidence of what you saw, so that other people can help you figure out what you saw, even if you don't know. And please reach out. We've got an extensive forum of folks to help answer questions. You can also reach out to help@inaturalist.org. And we do have a link about managing projects, and I will drop that in the chat as well.
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button. Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. Just like Zooniverse, iNaturalist projects are set up, can be set up with SciStarter to periodically pull them for new participation as well. So you can acknowledge the efforts of participants who are SciStarter account holders. So again, another platform that connects well with SciStarter to help the greater good of all citizen science projects be able to track their own data and help the project leaders understand who's working on their projects. So excellent. Okay, before I close this out, we have about 4 minutes to the end of the hour. I just wanted to check if there were any resounding questions about APIs. The general idea is that we just want to be able to connect or use digital tools to push information across different platforms to help understand the data and provide data to both the participants and to the project leaders. So if there are any questions about that, if there aren't any questions, or you think there might be questions later, you can always access a couple of things from the SciStarter API description website, which was posted earlier. We also have a blog post that will help as well, which I just posted. It's a Citizen Science Project Leaders, Here's How and Why to Become a SciStarter Affiliate. So this is a process that helps us all understand everything. Yeah, and we will email the recording link. Absolutely. Yes. Awesome. Thank you to all the wonderful people who helped us out today by participating in this big event to chat through everyone. Kate, sorry, did you have something to say? No, you're just waving.
I was just waving goodbye to everybody.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you all. Awesome. Well, just to close this out really fast, we have more events always every single week. So if you're interested in resources for everyone as a citizen scientist, so even if you're a project leader, but you like citizen science projects, we have all the resources prepared for you for next week. And this doesn't matter if you're new or old and a veteran to citizen science. And then we'll be in March for Women's History Month. So we'll be celebrating through a couple of activities, including a live edition for the Girl Scouts. So for any updates, you can go to our blog as well to find the most recent updates. And then involved with all of the platforms, if we have any events coming up, if we have anything for the month of April in general happening, you can access citizensciencemonth.org to find out how to facilitate events, how to learn about events. You can submit events for adding to SciStarter to get some extra promotional things. So any project leaders out there who need that, you can do that through scistarter.org/add event if you would not mind adding that role, and that would be super helpful as well. Awesome. How do teachers get started with SciStarter? I'd like to access data sets. Awesome, Nina. If you wouldn't mind, actually, you can go on to SciStarter and create an account for yourself, and then we have an education page. If you're requiring or asking about data sets, I'd like to know more, so I might have you stay on for another second too for this. Okay, and we have a million resources as well on SciStarter that some of them overlap with things that you've heard from other platforms, but just so you can see them all in one place. We also have communities where you can have feedback between the different participants and contact the project leaders. And you can also take trainings on SciStarter.org, which we usually talk about in all of these events. So stay tuned for more of these live events to learn more about that as well. If you need to ask us any questions, you can go to info@scistarter.org to talk to us. Awesome. Okay, I just filled a lot of, not a lot of space with a lot of information. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and see who's still here. Are there any other questions? Okay, that chat is moving very fast. So I'm going to go. Oh, I lost my Zoom page, unfortunately. Excellent. Oh, thank you for dropping the chat or the training, excuse me. Awesome. Yeah, thank you all so much, the project leaders, for joining us. That was super duper exciting to have all of you on board and discussing all these things. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop our Facebook Live. Bye, Facebook. And then I'm going to end our recording. Goodbye, recording.